Next.
Malaika Wells. Always feels like such a long walk. It's so funny, no matter how many times I do it. Good evening, Mayor and Council and staff. Happy New Year. Greetings to you all. My name is Malaika Wells. I live at 3322 Hunters Hill Drive in District 4. I am the current president of the Stonecrest Citizens Coalition. Tonight, I want to thank you for the robust discussions at the January 9th meeting. I appreciated the engagement from all involved and also appreciated Councilman Rob Turner's and Councilwoman Alicia Washington's voice concerns for community members who need and or utilize extended stay facilities. I am grateful for you being mindful of the whole of our socioeconomic ecosystem here in Stonecrest. I'm also here to ask that you continue to broadcast and stream committee meetings, whether this is required by law or not, as this facilitates citizen engagement and participation. Concerning the ARPA funds, Stonecrest citizens have continued to express their concerns with the city giving funds to the DeKalb County schools and have articulated that these funds should not be given to DCSD, but would be better used by making them available to local and county nonprofits who are and desire to provide extracurricular, academic, cultural, and other programming for students and youth in our city limits. I support a special called meeting on the ARPA funds and look forward to the city working to ensure that there is significant public input and participation in this meeting. Concerning the Ethics Board, I support option 1, which seems to reflect the will of community members who shared in the Stonecrest Citizens Coalition Facebook Members Forum on October 23rd, 2022. Of note, we have at least one resident within the city with previous employment experience with an ethics commission who, along with other citizens, is a tremendous asset in creating an ethics board we can be confident in. Also, the Charter Review Commission has been languishing. And I'm disappointed that this overdue commission is not on tonight's agenda, nor is it on the list in the agenda packet. And I'm asking council to let community know when you will begin to appoint members to this critical commission. I'm asking also that you publish URA facts and details on the city's website, and also that you can increase public comments time to 3 minutes. It's hard to do this within 2 minutes. And give us an update. That's it. See?
Thank you for your comments.
Malaika Wells. Good greetings, Mayor and Council. My name is Malaika Wells. I reside at 3322 Hunters Hill Drive in District 4. I hope your Thanksgiving holiday was full of good food, good company, and great joy and gratitude for God's grace and abundant blessings. I'm here to welcome new council member Alicia Washington. I'm glad that District 3 has representation and glad you were able to be sworn in before the new year. I hope that District 3 residents have elected an inquisitive, innovative, accessible, and accountable representative, and I am hopeful that your term on council will be known for integrity, transparency, citizen engagement, discretion, and wisdom. I am here also to thank council for the recent discussions and activity regarding pursuing a GMA City of Ethics designation, and to thank Councilwoman Graves and Councilwoman Grimes for voting in alignment with expressed community concerns regarding the recent appointment of Ms. Scruggs as acting city manager. I also want to share that I recently learned that the city does not have an MOA with Venture Denmark to provide legal services, and I'd like to know why that is. Earlier today, I was able to download and read the agreement for a provision of city attorney legal services for the city of Dalton and wonder why Stonecrest does not have a similar agreement with Venture Denmark. Also, I reviewed the contract for the former city manager. Its termination clause requires 14 days written notice from the city to terminate the contract, and I would like to know, did the city provide the required written notice? I continue to be grieved that the council has not moved with urgency to appoint members to the citizen-led Charter Review Commission, and wonder how the city and its residents have benefited from that decision to delay. I'm asking again that the time allotted for public comments be returned to 3 minutes. If you continue to deny this extension of time for public comments, please explain why. Thank you all. and have a great evening.
Thank you for your comments.
Malaika Wells.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and City staff. My name is Malaika Wells. I live at 3322 Hunters Hill Drive in Stonecrest, District 4. Last month during a council meeting, I asked the council to provide written evidence that council was within its rights to prevent citizens from silently holding signs in the meeting chamber at the 4/17 meeting. I have, to this date, received no response. On April 24th, I asked that you publicly explain why you continue to violate the charter by refusing to appoint members to the charter-mandated Charter Review Commission. SCC inquired with a local attorney who opined that appointments to this commission must be done immediately pursuant to the charter and state law. It is interesting that while the charter doesn't mandate a community improvement district or a development authority, the council has chosen to prioritize both of these agencies over the charter mandated Charter Review Commission. Again, I ask that you immediately begin requesting appointment recommendations for this commission and or explain your delay. April 26th, I received an email from a citizen which read, Ms. Wells, I see that you are still holding the city of Stonecrest to being transparent, or at least as much as you can. Please don't ever stop. Dear citizen, I don't intend to. Unfortunately, this mayor and council seems intent on following the example of the previous administration in employment practices, workplace culture, civic appointments, and citizen engagement, from violating the First Amendment right of its citizens to violating the Open Meetings Act and Georgia Open Records Act to harassing public meeting attendees. This current administration is continuing the standard of poor leadership and insular vision set by the previous mayor, Larry. In light of the fact that you claim to, quote, open quotes, welcome citizen participation and view robust debate as the cornerstone of our democracy, end quote, I again request that you add public comments to every public meeting agenda and increase public comment time to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. For the record, okay, for the record, I want to say that when Ms. Cosby was up here, she certainly had more than 2 minutes for her public comment. She was invited to speak an additional length of time. And that is, I want to piggyback on that. You can't do that. So you can't pick and choose who's going to get 2 minutes and who's going to get more time because the mayor invited them to speak longer, right? We got to have some equity in our city. So that is a way that you show your citizens that you're not cherry picking whose voice is important and then whose is less important, okay? So my name is Malaika Wells. I'm a resident of District 4. My address is 3322 Hunters Hill Drive. My public comment is this. I was actually getting up to talk again about requesting 3 minutes of time. I also want to ask you to commit to ensuring that all citizens who would like to speak during public meetings are able to do so. It's in your capacity and power to make sure that that happens. You don't have to set a limit. You can ensure that all citizens have access and their voices are lifted and support their citizen engagement. Next thing I want to say is I want you to ensure that all citizens who want to attend these meetings get into this chamber. So we had several people here tonight and they were turned away because they were told that it was at capacity. One person texted me and they had already returned home. So they wanted to come and fulfill their civic duty and participate in tonight's meeting and were not able to enter the chamber. That's a problem. I have seen this place with folks standing here when y'all have presentations that you want to make and proclamations that you want to make and guest speakers who coming in. I've seen that. So you have this is new, move it forward some. You don't need all this room, add some more chairs. If we need more capacity for more citizens to come in here and participate and engage, get it done because you're able to do so. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next.
Malaika Wells.
Will you inform citizens that if they have a comment regarding any of the public hearing matters on planning and zoning, that public hearing later?
Not to debate the issue, but this is a public hearing. They can speak on any issues they want to. They're open. They are.
Okay.
They may well wind up repeating it in the public hearing.
Well, yeah, I only made the comment because I don't want the public to be confused if some of them get a chance to speak and then some don't. I just want to make sure that it doesn't seem like we're allowing some people to speak on public hearing matters now, and then we'll make others wait until later. I just wanted to make sure we were clear about the opportunity.
Madam City Clerk, will you read the rules again?
This meeting is being conducted in person. Citizens may submit public comments via email to cityclerk@stonecrestga.gov by 2 p.m. on the day of the meeting to be read by the city clerk. There is a 2-minute time limit for each speaker submitting or reading a public comment.
And it has been generally the practice they can speak on any subject they want to as long as they are civil in their presentation. And but to the mayor's point, if you're here to speak on support for one of the applications, you want to save your time for then, there is a process to allow you to speak in support of a particular application. This is just general comments.
Proceed.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Malaika Wells. I live at 3322 Hunters Hill Court or Drive in District 4. I'm a member of the Stonecrest Citizens Coalition, and I'm requesting that you all return to the 3 minutes per person for public comments. We don't have a lot of two-way communication with you all, so it's important that we have our time when we're here. About 30 days ago, the SEC issued a statement, copies of which were sent to the mayor and council. However, neither mayor nor council have responded to that emailed statement as of today. Neither have 6 of the 7 points in that statement been addressed by mayor or council. So I'm here to ask you, why haven't any of you responded? And when do you intend to respond to that emailed statement? Section 2.13 Part A of the Charter states that elected and appointed officers of the city are trustees and servants of the residents of the city and shall act in a fiduciary capacity for the benefit of such residents. I'm a resident. If I send you an email with questions and you never respond to them, how are you acting in a fiduciary capacity for my benefit? And who benefits from your non-responsiveness? About 30 days ago, and for the first time in my life, I submitted some open record requests. And it was not until I filed a complaint with the Attorney General's office that I got a response to 2 of those requests, which included a $6,247.80 fee and additional delays, including 45 business days, and allegedly 260 hours of staff time. The ORA requires requests be responded to in 3 days. I waited nearly 30 days, but within 24 hours of a letter from the AG's office, I received a response from the clerk's office, who told the city clerk not to respond to my request for nearly 4 weeks. Who told them? And who instructed them to assess more than $6,000 in fees for emails that I requested in my ORR? And how does this response build trust? Section 2.4 on page 20 of the charter outlines the boards, commissions, and authorities line and seems to exclude members of board, commissions, and authorities of the city from holding elective office in the city or in DeKalb County. Considering this, how is it possible that the Urban Redevelopment Agency is comprised solely of mayor and council who appointed themselves? And how also is it possible that Mayor Cobble was able to serve on the URA without interruption? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Malaika Wells.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Malaika Wells. I live at 3322 Hunters Hill Drive in District 4. There's a story in the Bible about an evil spirit that left a place searching for shelter, but finding none, returned to the place it had left. Its former home was empty, swept, and in order. The spirit then found more spirits, even more evil than itself, and they all entered and dwelt in that place so that it was even worse than it was before. The previous mayor led by fear, intimidation, and cronyism, harassing staff, impeding progress, and cherry-picking appointments that would rubber stamp his crookedness and schemes. Our previous mayor left in scandal because of his greed and because citizens of this city worked together to expose his corruption. Earlier this year, this council voted in an experienced city manager that it believed could right the ship, establish effective policies and procedures, as well as assemble a team to further support positive forward progress in Stonecrest. Last week, our community learned that we no longer have a city manager. As of today, we have a failed housing authority, a failed development authority, and a landowner with millions of dollars in tax abatements who's not been directed by this council to provide any accountability, timeline, plan, or progress of his intent to deliver on his promises. We have a failed CARES Act funds distribution and no communication or updates from council regarding what became of those funds or what's next. We have a city charter deeply in need of a mandated citizen review, and you all are caught in a closed feedback loop, uninformed by the needs, wishes, or will of this community. Because of the corruption present from its inception, this city has a bullseye on its back. With questionable transparency, platitudes instead of answers, no ethics ordinance, and a missing chief administrator, we're effectively hanging out a shingle that says easy target. You can go the extra mile to reverse some uncommon situations. If we don't change course now, this city will never become what it could be. You have all the assets you need. You only need to use them. The previous mayor explicitly told residents of this city if they didn't like how he did things, they should leave. We don't need an administration that essentially communicates the same message with different means. We don't need someone to perfect the grift that he started and do it better than he did with more support. We need leadership that will emerge with sound decisions through integrity, dialogue, and consistent citizen engagement. We can and should set a higher standard of accountability, of service, and of citizen expectations. We can do more than meet the legally required bare minimum of transparency and ethics. The question is, why won't you? Your sense of duty should compel you to serve in an exceptional way. Thank you.
Thank you. No. Because of the climate, we will accept it, because I know there has been some confusion. Ms. Wells? Well, let's take you right now.
Sure, appreciate it. So my name is Malaika Wells. I'm a Stonecrest resident in District 4 and also the president of the Stonecrest Citizens Coalition. After reviewing the Urban Redevelopment Area Resolution on tonight's agenda, I failed to see how the area described in Exhibit A fits the requirements of a pocket of blight. I found it odd that this resolution's exhibit did not include a map of the area in addition to the legal description to make it easier for citizens and stakeholders to understand the area being described. Because there is no reasoning shared in the agenda packet that I saw as to how the area was determined to be blighted, because the exhibit did not include a map of the area described, because the city hasn't shared any updates with the community regarding the Stonecrest Development Authority or the Stonecrest Housing Authority and how such designation would impact the comprehensive plan and the previous and or current activities of the aforementioned authorities, the vote on the resolution should be deferred as to provide for more discussion and input from the community. Regarding the Urban Redevelopment Agency, once again, I implore you to explain to citizens how it's possible that council can be both council and not council when participating as members of that agency. Why are there no other Stonecrest citizens or stakeholder members of that agency? I again note that most URA meetings are spent in executive session. Minutes from those sessions are not made available to the public, even upon ORR. And no updates regarding decisions you make or votes you take during those sessions are described in available recorded videos of those meetings. I am asking that you add to the next council agenda a discussion of the URA, its purpose, intent, scope, vision, mission, values, policies, and procedures, including the purpose and intent of adding a line item for this agency in the city's budget. how the agency is organized, how members are appointed, and the terms of appointment. The request speaks to the continuing issues of transparency and accountability from council, as the council are also the only members of the URA. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else speaking of just general public comments? At this time, you may call the audience.
Malaika Wells.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and City staff. My name is Malaika Wells. I live at 3322 Hunters Hill Drive in District 4. At the April 17th special called City Council meeting, 4 residents, including myself, brought signs into the meeting chamber. We were seated and silently holding our signs on our laps in the meeting chamber when Mayor Jasmine Cobble requested that an armed guard remove our signs from us, and Mayor Pro Tem George Turner announced that we could not hold signs at the meetings. Additionally, we learned that the doors to the buildings was locked and unstaffed, impeding and delaying entry for some residents. It's my belief that the actions of the mayor and council violated both the U.S. Constitution and Georgia Sunshine Laws. I am asking that council respond to this comment within 7 days with written evidence that council was within its rights to prevent citizens from silently holding signs in the meeting chamber and for keeping building doors locked during the public meeting. I'm additionally asking that you publicly explain to community why you refuse to appoint members to the charter-mandated Charter Review Commission. Finally, I am glad to see the city continuing the recognition of Georgia Cities Week that it started under the leadership of former city manager Janice Allen Jackson. I sincerely hope that all the events are widely attended. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Malaika Wells.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and staff. My name is Malaika Wells. I reside at 3322 Hunters Hill Drive in District 4. Concerning the mayor's suggested IGA with Stonecrest Development Authority, I'm asking that when the time comes, because I see that it was removed from tonight's agenda, that you deny this agreement for the reasons that I listed in my email to all council members, as well as those that I shared on the Stonecrest Georgia Issues and News Facebook page, including that the SDA was never connected with the city, made questionable investments, had poor record keeping, and should not be legitimized by an IGA. What businesses and properties in Stonecrest does the SDA have title to? My recommendation to the council is to get your tax abatements back, cut ties, and move on. That's Stonecrest forward. Approving this IGA is Stonecrest backwards and upside down. Additionally, why is council rushing to make a decision on the SDA prior to appointing members to the past due Charter Review Commission? This is a blatant violation of the charter's intent to provide citizens the opportunity to review the charter and evaluate its effectiveness. Why are you willfully denying citizens this right and dragging your feet on this? Tonight's consent agenda is 2022 street paving. Again, this was written prior to tonight. Snell contract. Mr. Butler suggested that some of the work that was done previously was done poorly. This contributed to the need for a change order and additional funding. Will the city recoup any of these costs from the contractors who did the poor work? The animal exhibition text amendment was not included in the packet for this meeting. So far as we understand, the issues and the conflict surrounding the need for this text amendment, which included council allowing the purchase, build out, renovation, and operation of a business without a required ordinance, contributed to the dismissal of at least one staff person. What will council and staff do to prevent the city from continuing its cycle of allowing developers to operate on a better to ask for forgiveness than permission fashion? The major plat approval on the agenda is listed as a decision, but I don't recall seeing this on a meeting agenda previously. Should this be for discussion or decision? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and staff. Because of the limited time for public comments, you are missing opportunities to get to know and hear from those you represent. Please increase time for public comments or offer a monthly community engagement meeting where you hear from and speak with constituents beginning in March. Before any more funding decisions are made or implemented, I would like for council to host the special called meeting you previously proposed to discuss the ARPA funds, during which constituents are able to hear directly from Barry Dunn representatives, including a question and answer session for residents and stakeholders. Questions: how many members of council are providing meeting summaries to constituents with updates on city business, votes, etc.? Concerning the ethics ordinance, how many members of council have hosted a public dialogue to review and get feedback from constituents on the proposed changes? As council requested technical support from the GMA with proposed changes, I am asking the council not to vote tonight on the proposed changes before doing both of these things. The council continues to violate the charter in not appointing members to the name-only Charter Review Committee. DeKalb Commissioners Cochran Johnson and Ted Terry last week hosted a charter review town hall to help county constituents understand DeKalb's organizational act. It is discouraging that Stonecrest, which was created to improve constituent services, is failing to honor its charter and residents in this way. Concerning the new development authority, before you proceed, I am asking that you publicly discuss how this impacts the dealings of the previous development authority, including the land transactions and tax abatements that it approved. The board and committees page on the city's website has encouraged citizens to check back on a regular basis concerning updates to this page. Currently, the link to the page's boards and committees listed has inconsistent data available. Many are missing agendas, summaries, or minutes, which makes it very difficult for constituents to understand the who, what, when, where, and how of these committees. Does the city have an updated website map and guidelines so that the communications department understands the expectations for supporting the council's efforts towards transparency? I hope that you will improve the deadline, or that you will provide the deadline by which the update for boards and committees will be complete at the March 13th City Council work session. Thank you.
Thank you.